Thank you so much, everybody. So great to be back. That's right, it was probably 4 years ago we did this, and at the time they said, I don't know, I don't think he's going to run. And look what happened. Who knew? Who knew this was going to happen? But we've had a terrific time. I'm so honored that this is your record crowd. That's a long time. Anytime we can break records, we all like it. We all have those big egos, a lot of the people I know in this room. There's my man, the king of the vets, right here. The king, my friend. Well, the veterans are special. Special day for the veterans, by the way, right? Special day. This is our day. The greatest people. The greatest people. And we're going to work with them, and we're going to take care of them, and so many things. You know, we put in a plan 2 weeks ago on a tremendous ship, and it was so well received because, you know, the waiting times are so enormous. The vets go in and they wait for days and days and days, and nothing happens. And some of them get very sick, and some of them, I hate to say, it's the end because they can't get a doctor. They can't get a doctor in time. And we put in a plan that everybody loves. You go, and if you get good service, that's great. And if you don't get good service, you go into a private doctor, or you go into a hospital, or you go into someplace right nearby, and we're going to pay for it, and you're going to get home, and you're going to get better, and you're not going to have a traumatic experience, and you're going to get back to health, and you're going to love it. And it's so simple. And you know it's going to cost a hell of a lot less money than what they're doing right now, believe me. So the vets are all really, they love it. They love it. And so simple. So simple. So last night we had a debate. It was exciting. It was really nice. Beautiful auditorium. 8 people on the stage, which is nice. You know, we had 10. We started off with 17. And one by one, they're disappearing. Disappearing. It's a beautiful thing to watch as they go out. Oh, I love it. Every day, another one goes out. Lots of problems, right? The biggest problem is they don't get the votes. They don't get the polling numbers. Speaking of polling numbers, I love New Hampshire. And, you know, I'm telling you, the relationship that we've had with New Hampshire and the people of New Hampshire has been amazing. And you see what I'm talking about because you guys get the polls just like I do, where it's such a big lead. I wish we could call. Can we call the election for tomorrow? You know, in some countries, the prime minister's, you know, if he's popular at the time, he says, we are calling for our election on Tuesday. I love that. Maybe we can change the law so we can do that. But we have about 90 days, and that's not a lot. You know, when we started this quest, it was a year and a half. And then I said, all right, will I do it? Will I do it? You know, it takes a lot of courage to do it. It really does. It's hard. It's a hard thing to do, especially, you know, all my life I've heard if you're a successful person, if you're a very successful person, you can't run for the office of president. The scrutiny, the difficulty, the horror show, your family gets so exposed, and, you know, they've never done this before, and I've never been a politician before. I've dealt with politicians all my life. I love dealing with politicians, but I've never done this before. And who would have thought this was going to happen, in all fairness? But people see what's going on, and, you know, my family has been so great. In fact, I brought my 2 sons. Where are they? Oh, come here. Come on up here. I have to show off my sons. I have to show them off. I'm proud of them. This is Don Jr. and Eric. And come on, say a couple of them. Hey, you know, I flew in. I had about an hour and a half of sleep. So you know what I say to my boys? Say a few words.
Well, it's great to be here. Thank you so much for the incredibly warm thanks for my father. This is clearly not something we were planning on doing here today, and I know you're not interested in listening to the B team, but he's going to do a great job for you and for this country. We're really proud of him, and we're just psyched to be here and watching what's going on. The message is resonating so well, we just couldn't be more proud. So thank you guys so much for all of your support. It's just been absolutely amazing.
And I'm like the proud son. I mean, I cannot believe, obviously, we had an unbelievable debate. He won every poll last night. I mean, all the polls, all the ratings coming out of that thing last night was so good. But I'm so proud of him. I mean, what he's accomplished. He's been a politician for 4 months now. What he's accomplished in that period of time. Listen, guys, we're winning this thing. We're winning it. And honestly, he's always been a winner to me. He's my best friend. He's a mentor. He's an unbelievable negotiator. He's just the greatest man in the world, and I love him immensely. Our family is so important, and our relationship is so important. And I'm proud of him. I'm proud of him. So I'm that glowing son. But thank you guys for welcoming me to your state. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, fellas. They're good boys. As I knock on wood, right? Knock on wood. We never know. They have been really great. And they're hardworking people. And they love what they do. And we're very proud of them. So I thought what we do today, because this is special and a special group, I thought we'd do question and answer, okay? Let's do it. And, you know, we're going to do a lot of things, and I just want to tell you, we're going to repeal Obamacare and replace it with something great. We're going to take care of our vets. We're going to build up our military. We're going to do such a great job on illegal immigration. You know, my biggest hand last night, and the biggest hand of the evening, was when I said, at the border, we're going to create a border. We're going to build a wall. We're going to build a wall. And the place went crazy. And even I was surprised. But that happens a lot because people want borders. We don't have a border. We don't have a country. And you happen to have a problem that's a little bit unique, although not totally unique, unfortunately, in the country. The problem of heroin in New Hampshire is unbelievable. It's like an unbelievable problem that you have. And you know where that stuff comes from. And we're going to work on, with all of our friends here, with so many, the clinics that they want to get involved with, and the rehab centers. But it's not unique to New Hampshire, but I think you have it bigger and tougher than anybody else. It just seems. It's such a big problem here. And we're going to work on it, and we're going to work on it very strongly. So we're going to do a terrific job. We have such support. And so many people, I heard the other night, you know, they're talking about the different states, and they said, it's going to be really, really tough to beat Trump in New Hampshire because they really like him. And I like you the same. I love the people. I love them. They're great people. These are great people. And so it's a special bond and a special relationship. So let's do question and answer, okay? Go ahead. What's your question? You can make them vicious, violent, crazy, whatever the hell you want to do.
That sounds interesting. First of all,
identify yourself.
Sure. My name is Anne Marie Banfield. I'm with Cornerstone Policy Research in New Hampshire. We're a family policy advocacy group.
Great.
And I'm the education liaison for them. So I want to first thank you for your outspoken opposition to Common Core.
Right, totally.
I really appreciate that.
Don't even understand the other. I mean, you know, Common Core it's very simple.
Yeah.
Don't even understand how somebody, you know, Jeb, as you know, is a big Common Core person.
Yeah.
I don't even like to bring up his name because honestly,
yeah, I'm not happy about that. So
it's
anyway,
over. But how does anybody favor Common Core?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm still trying to figure that out. My question to you is, Common Core is more than just a set of standards, as we're all figuring out. And it is now in our schools. Parents hate it. Our governor ignores the parents. But my question to you is something that nobody has really addressed in any of the campaigns.
Go ahead.
And the media is not even addressing. It's the data mining of personal information on the students that's going on within this total redesign of public education under Obama. He gutted the FERPA law. So now parents don't even know when information is leaving the schools. They no longer have to consent.
By the way, isn't it ridiculous?
Yes. It's
and
crazy.
you could have local education with local people, your local schools, and you don't have a problem with some bureaucrat in Washington that just wants to make money.
We're losing local control under this. So my question
go ahead. What's your
is
question?
about the data mining.
I didn't know Common Core was so complicated, frankly.
It is. What would you do to protect the privacy of students now that Obama has pretty much opened that up so anybody can get information?
He opened it up
students?
for everybody but himself.
Right. Well, the government can take information.
If you think about it.
Yeah.
It's very interesting, isn't it?
So is there something that, would you close the loophole in the FERPA law? Would you,
I would close all loopholes. You have to have privacy.
Right.
You have to have privacy. So I'd close all. But most important, I'd get everything out of Washington because that's where it's all emanating from. Okay?
Okay,
Thank you very much.
Lenny Glenn.
Come on, Lenny. Where's Lenny? Come on, Lenny. Look at this guy. He's been with me from the beginning. How are you, Lenny?
Donald, I'm fine.
Good.
Whoa, it's a loud mic.
You sound strong.
I want to ask you just a straightforward but serious question. Social Security, as you know, is absolutely vital to the retirement of millions of Americans.
And Medicare.
And Medicare. And yet we know, in particular with Social Security, the system faces a long-term shortfall in the 9-10 trillion. And you can close that shortfall one of two ways or by a combination. You can cut benefits, you can raise revenue going into the system, or some combination.
Right.
What's your plan?
My plan is to leave Social Security alone. What we're going to do is you get rid of the fraud, the abuse, the waste. And we're going to bring jobs back to our country. We're going to make our country rich again. And we're going to be able to take care of our Medicare and our Social Security. It's to leave it alone. And there's basically two of us that want to do that in terms of the Republican candidates. And one of them is a terrific guy, but he won't be able to bring the jobs back. That's what I do. I've employed tens of thousands of people. I'm going to bring them back from China, from Japan, from India, from all over the world where they've taken our jobs. We're going to bring them back. We're going to make our country very rich again and very great again. And one of the things we'll be able to afford, again, will be Social Security. You know, you've been paying into Social Security for a long time. It's very unfair to say, oh, okay, we're going to change it now. So we are going to do that. Okay, Lenny? Good. Thank you.
Amy.
Hi, Amy.
Mr. Trump, first I want to thank you for energizing the nomination process on the Republican side.
Do you think they would have had, here's a question. Do you think they would have had 24 million and 23 million? You know, Fox was the biggest cable program ever, and CNN was the largest in the history of CNN. So if I wasn't involved, would they have had those numbers, do you think? I don't know. 23 and 24 million. Do you believe it? And you know what I got out of it? Nothing. I want to try and monetize that, right? Anyway, no, it's my honor. I appreciate what you said.
Thank you. My question relates to maritime commerce. Our economy in New England and the nation depends increasingly on maritime transportation.
Right.
Ships that are getting larger and larger.
Right.
Maritime commerce, they actually pay $2 billion a year into a trust fund that's designed to maintain our nation's ports and waterways.
Right.
Only the president and administrations typically only requested about half that amount gets spent for its intended purpose.
Okay.
As president, what's your feeling on a trust fund of this sort, and would you work to try to increase?
Well, you know, our ports are way behind, like everything else, like our airports, like everything else. Our ports for maritime are way, way out of whack. You go to some of these countries, they have deep water ports that are unbelievable, and we only can take certain size ships, et cetera, et cetera. We have the knowledge, we have actually the money, but we don't have this, and we don't have the leadership. Believe me, maritime is very important to me, and that's going to be taken care of. You'll be very happy. Okay? Thank you. My favorite vet, the King. Go ahead. Go ahead. Thank you. Thank you very much. Take the mic. Go ahead. He's got a very strong voice.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
What I would like to see you do for the veterans.
Did you like the plan I rolled out?
I think you did a great job.
Good. Thank you.
But anyways, what my concerns are here is that there's a bill that passed the House. It's called, and now it's in the Senate. It's called Senate Bill 1082. It's the Veterans Availability Act. In your plan discusses, it talks about the veterans availability. But there was a bill passed a year and a half ago. It was a feel-good bill that done nothing, and not one person was fired. My concern is hoping that you can rock the boats of the Republicans in the House and the Senate, or actually the Senate, to sign on 1082, which has a lot more meat that works hand in hand with your bill to fire the ones that are stepping on veterans' health care in the United States. Very important. And if you can call them out on Senate Bill 1082, would be a win-win.
I'll do that. I'll look
for the
into
country.
that when I get back. Yeah, I understand exactly what you're saying.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sure. Go ahead. Give him the mic. Right over here, please.
To the right. And then we'll do Gordon. Gordon's in the...
Gordon, where's Gordon? Is he back there? Get ready, Gordon.
Thank you, Mr. Trump, for coming.
Okay, go ahead.
My name is Joel Gill. I'm from the New Hampshire Institute of Art. Last year, by all accounts, ISIS killed 3 people, and the police killed 1,100. And a lot of the 1,100 people look a lot like me. And I wonder what your thoughts are about the increasing militarization of the police force.
Well, I happen to think the police are not being treated properly in this country. I think that along with the vets, along with certain groups, these are tremendous people, and I've dealt with them, and I guess I've dealt with them more in the last 6 months than I've ever dealt with them before. You know, it's been an amazing experience for me. And I've seen people that are so dedicated, and you're always going to have a problem. You know, no matter what business you go in, you're going to have a problem. Somebody was stupid about something, and it's terrible. And you're going to have that, and we'll see that sometimes on television. And, you know, the sad part is you see that, but you don't see the millions of great acts and, you know, all of the positive things that are done. But I happen to think that I've met some of the finest people just dealing with the police forces throughout the country that I'm dealing with. I mean, here, they've been unbelievable the way they've treated me here. And, you know, you just feel safe. You come into these, sometimes I'll go into an arena with 20, 22,000 people, and you'll see these police come out, and they have great love and great respect, and you know, I've had a great relationship with them, and they're doing a really good job. And I know they could do even a better job. A lot of the genius has been taken away from them by politicians. But I really do feel, and I think it's important, that we cherish our police, that we respect our police, that we let them do what they have to do. You know, you look at some areas, you look at some places, and the crime is rampant, and you know that it can be stopped, or it could be largely stopped. So I just think that we have to just love our police forces and what they stand for, because believe me, they are really amazing people, and they're hard-working people, and they do an amazing job. So, yeah. Gordon? Yeah, thank you.
Excuse me?
Yes, hi, Gordon.
Mr. Trump, question about federal subsidies for ethanol. The federal ethanol mandate has cows competing with cars for fuel, for corn fuel, and it's driving up the cost of food in this country. Yesterday, the union leader here in New Hampshire reported that New Englanders are spending $500 million per year extra on fuel because of the inefficiency of ethanol-based fuel. Furthermore, ethanol is really bad for old engines, old car engines, old boat engines, motorcycles, etc. And we've got a lot more domestic petroleum and natural gas than we did 5 years ago. You're on record as supporting the ethanol mandate 100%. Is that still true?
What I'm going to do is we're doing actually a report on this, and you know, you have different parts of the country that feel very differently about it, but we're doing a report on this over the next 3-4 weeks, and I'm going to see you. I'm going to give you a copy of it. It'll be very interesting to you. I think it's going to be it's going to be very revealing. So I will get a copy for Lenny, okay? For Gordon. Yes.
Tim.
Go ahead, Tim.
Tim. All right, let's get Tim and then Jim.
Okay. Tim?
Thanks very much for coming.
Thank you.
I'm Tim Leshin from Northeastern University, and I wanted to ask you about higher education, because I feel like we are producing the future workforce that's going to drive the economy, and I wonder if you could talk about your view of higher education and what the federal government should be doing in that regard.
Well, there's just about nothing that's more important than higher education and education generally. I'm a big, big fan of education, believe me. You don't have to convince me. I know what it means. I know what it represents. And, you know, along with protection, the military, we have to really cherish our professors, our teachers. And, you know, you talk about the police also. a group that does an amazing job are the teachers of this world. They can be professors, but unbelievable job. And, I've always said, I think they're the most underpaid people on earth. And yet they love it, right? I see teachers over here. You're a teacher. I can see. She's nodding. Yep, you're right. But in the meantime, you love it. And I know so many teachers, and they love it. And they're so smart and so good. And yet they make money that's, I have people that work for me. I have people that I know. I have people that I deal with all the time. They're nothing compared to the teachers I know. They make more money. And yet those teachers would never switch places. They love what they do. They're just amazing people. So education is very, very important to me. And it's going to be, if I win, it's going to be a very, very big factor. And it will be based locally, by the way. We get rid of the Common Core stuff. But it will be so good. When you think about Common Core and when you think about some of the things that we like to talk about, and they sit back and they talk, and, politicians all talk, no action. So we spend more money per pupil than any country in the world by twice. It's not like a little bit more. We double it up. And yet we're ranked number 28 in the world. We have third world countries that are ahead of us in terms of education per pupil. It's based on a per capita basis. 28 in the world, and we are double what anyone else spends. Doesn't that say something, right? So it's not a question of money. A lot of this stuff is not a question of the money. Even the vets, they spend so much money. But the administration is terrible. The money goes, the theft is unbelievable. There's been some stories with the VA hospitals that are horrible. It's not even a question of the money. Probably save money. You could probably save a lot of money and give much better care. I'm sure that you can. But it's the same thing over here. So I want to get those numbers, I want to get the numbers down, but I want to get the results up, more importantly, and we'll do that. Education's so big. Okay, thank you.
Jim Flanagan.
Go ahead, Jim. Hi, Jim.
Good morning, Mr. Trump. Jim Flanagan from St. Anselm College. Thanks for being at our on
Thank
campus
you, Jim.
this morning.
I appreciate it.
My question to you is, if you're elected president, what will you do to battle the major drug problem in this country? Here in Manchester, New Hampshire, major epidemic with heroin addiction and so forth. So my question is, what would you do to battle that?
The heroin problem. It's amazing, Jim, how many people bring that up. I'll bet half the people, if I didn't answer this question, half the people have their hand up about heroin. Because this area, I don't know what it is, but this area. And we're going to battle it in two fronts. We're going to do the clinics, we're going to work it so they can do the clinics, and do them locally so they're locally based and run. That's not so different than the education. We want it locally based and run. And we're also going to close up the borders. Got to close up the borders. The drugs are pouring in. When I say build the wall, I'm not just playing games. We're going to have a real wall. We're going to have a real wall. We're not playing games. They show a wall in one of the magazines last week. It's this tall. And they build a ramp. And they have trucks all over. The trucks are loaded with drugs. They use it like a speedway. They go off. That doesn't happen with Trump's wall, Jim. They're going to say, boy, that's a high ramp. Wow. We fall off that ramp, we're in trouble. Not going to happen. So we have to stop it. You have to stop the source. In the meantime, people are hooked. And I don't know what it is with heroin, but it just seems to be a really tough one to get away from. But it can be done. And we're going to take care of the people. These people got hooked. They got hooked unknowingly. I've heard stories where they had no idea, and all of a sudden they were hooked, and they can't get out of it. It's a terrible, terrible drug, and we will take care of it. As much as we can. As much as we can. But we can stop that source. Okay? Thank you. It's a great question. Christina? Go ahead. Christina? Where's Christina? Okay. Come on, Christina. Let's get with it.
Good morning. My name is Christiana Thornton, and I'm president of the New Hampshire Bankers Association. And I want to ask a question that I asked Hillary Clinton about a week or two ago. And first, I can make a statement that New Hampshire's banking industry has really been a cornerstone in the communities of the state.
Right. That's true.
And the nation needs banks of all sizes to meet the needs of consumers and businesses. In terms of Dodd-Frank, we feel that the pendulum has swung too far. Could you talk a little bit?
It has swung too far.
Could you talk a little bit?
Meaning too far where it's so restricted the banks can't loan money.
Correct.
Yeah, sure. Dodd-Frank is a disaster. You know the banks are being run by the regulators, okay? They're being run by the regulators. I have friends that are heads of big banks that get paid a lot of money to run the bank. They're petrified of the regulators.
They can't make a deal. And one of the reasons that we're not seeing businesses thrive because the banks can't loan money. They'll give me money. You know, they'll give me money. They'll give anybody that doesn't need money, they'll give them all the money they want. It's true. If you don't need money, they will give you so much, and you'll get it at rates like 1.5%. You get it for nothing. In fact, you should borrow. One of the biggest banks in the world came and looked at my statement. They said, you should borrow a lot of money, Donald. You could borrow billions and billions. And I say, but someday I have to pay it back. I mean, you know, but he'll give it for nothing. You almost feel like you have to take it. But I think rates could go up very substantially. But they were telling me and friends of mine that have businesses, they're good business people, they cannot borrow money because the regulators are so tough that they can't do. So if they want to open a business or start a business, these are great people with good credit ratings, they can't do it. And I will tell you, the president of banks are petrified. They're petrified of the regulators. The regulators are running the banks. Dodd-Frank is very bad. Okay?
Okay, we got some hands in the back. And
okay.
We got a microphone in the back.
In the back. Okay, very good.
Just identify yourself.
Yes, I'd like to know how you would address...
Are you a vet?
Yeah, I am.
You look like a vet to me.
Yeah,
Tough.
I saw you at the signing. Remember?
I can see it.
I'm the guy...
I see you back there. I see. I remember. I don't forget. I forget, but I never forget my vets.
That'll go. I like that.
Go ahead.
I want to know how you would treat the abuse of executive orders, number one. And number two, I want my damn book signed for my wife.
Okay. You'll bring the book up. Bring the book up. Bring that up. So a great thing happened. You know, President Obama signed an executive order where everybody just pours into the country. It was unbelievable. And, you know, they won in court to stop it, but everybody thought the appeals court would throw it out. And 2 days ago, the appeals court upheld it 2-1, which was shocking to people. And that executive order right now looks like it's going down the tubes. Now, it took 2 years to get there. But the whole concept of executive order, it's not the way the country's supposed to be run. You're supposed to go through Congress and make a deal and go and talk to people and get the guys in there. And you know, whether you're Republican or Democrat, you're supposed to all get together and you're supposed to make a deal. But he couldn't make a deal because it's not his thing. He doesn't really even want to deal with the Democrats. He doesn't want to deal with anybody. So he's got this new thing with executive orders. But I'm telling you, this was a great thing that happened 2 days ago. Think of it. 2 days ago, the court upheld a decision saying that the executive order that he signed was improper on immigration. It was a big one. It was a big one. That was a great thing. In Texas, they did a great job. They did a fantastic job. It's so rare. How often do we see that? We don't see it. But this was a great thing. You know, speaking of things we don't see, and I say this, we don't have victories anymore in our country. When do we have a victory? We don't have victories on trade. We don't have victories with ISIS. We don't have a victory with a stupid agreement that was done with Iran, done by incompetent people on our side. We don't have victories with Sergeant Bergdahl, where this traitor, this dirty, rotten traitor, he gets no jail time. Gets no jail time. Now think of it, right? 25, 50 years ago, 30 years ago, what would they have done? Bing, right? He just said it. I didn't have to say it. I'm just imitating him. He's going to get no jail time. Nothing. They say, well, you know, he wasn't feeling. 6 people died going out looking for him. So we make a deal. I call him the 5-for-1 president. This is the way we deal. Whether it's economics or military, he makes a deal. 5 of their best, most wanted people. We get Bergdahl. They get 5 killers that are right now back on the battlefield looking to kill everybody, including us. This is the deal we make. And they knew he was a traitor before they made the deal. I figured, well, maybe they got snookered. Maybe they didn't know. They had a general and a colonel seeing everybody in that division. And they were all saying, no, he left. He's a traitor. So they knew it was, you know, they're dealing with a traitor. If I heard he was a traitor, I'd say, that's okay, no deal, you can keep him. I would say we never want him back, right, Steve? We don't want him back. Steve, right from the beginning. Stand up, Steve. Right from the beginning, he's been with me. He's seen it happen, right? So anyway, so we're going to strengthen things up. Where's that book? Where is that book? Come here. Give me that book. Come here.
Okay, we got a mic here.
Crippled America. Isn't that a terrible title? Crippled America, but how to use it. And the sad part is, so Simon & Schuster, great company, they want to do a book. And we wrote it up, How to Make America Great Again, Crippled America, How to Make It Great. So it's not just, it's crippled, we're going to make it better. And in doing the pictures, they sent up this great photographer, and he took these beautiful pictures. I wish I was so good looking like these pictures. And they were smiling like that. Beautiful. I look so good. My wife said, you look so great in those pictures. And then there was one that was taken when I wasn't ready. And it was a horrible picture. That's it. Look. And it's the worst picture I think I've ever taken. And the book is doing great. But how can you have a book titled Crippled America, talk about all horror stories and how to fix them? Because I don't want to be just a critic. There's nothing I hate more than a critic, where they criticize, but they can't do it themselves, you know. But I can't have that title and have a smiley face, right? So I have this horrible picture, but that's okay. And I think you'll like it. Okay, I'm going to send this book back to you.
Why don't you ask your question here, sir, and identify yourself?
Sure. Hi, my name is Rich Smitty. I'm from Merrimack, New Hampshire. First of all, I want to say good morning, Mr. Trump.
Good morning.
And I also want to thank all the veterans that have served this great country, the United States.
Thank you. Great.
Another thing that I have to say is that I like to be an optimist. So when you become president, have you given any long and hard thought to possibly who the vice president will be? Chris Christie.
Good man, actually. Very good guy. Good guy. And did well last night. From what everybody tells me, did very well last night. Good guy. Well, there certainly could be a place for him, I can tell you that. You know, I like to not think about that position. I like to think. I have so many friends in the real estate business where they give you renderings. They're going to build. I call them the rendering guys. They never get it built. You understand, right? I was never a rendering guy. I like to get it built, and then I do the rendering. So I want to get this job done. We can make our country so great again. We can make it better than ever before. I mean it. We can make it better than ever before. We can make our country, think of it, better than ever before. But if we go another 4 years with Hillary and all these characters, it's never going to happen. So it's so important, this next election. Let's do a couple of more. Okay?
Right here.
Go ahead. Yes, hi.
Just identify yourself. Here's the mic. Just move it along.
Hi, thank you. Vincent DeVito, Bowditch and Dewey. Let me know your thoughts, please, why you think it took President Obama and Secretary Clinton so long to announce their decision on the Keystone Pipeline. 7 years, even though we
7
know
years
where
to
their
say
thoughts
no
were. Yeah.
on the pipeline. Now, I have to tell you, I feel a little differently than most. I want the pipeline. And by the way, without eminent domain, you don't have a pipeline. You know that. You know, people say, oh, eminent domain. I don't love eminent domain, but you won't have highways without eminent domain. You won't have roads. You won't have sewage systems. You won't have anything. You won't have towns because there'll be no way. You know, somebody criticized this group, this Club for Growth, a bunch of real losers. They come up to my office. No, I got to tell you, because he mentions the pipeline. Every time I think of the pipeline, I say, oh, that's eminent domain. In fact, you know the pipeline, the Keystone Pipeline, they have a whole thing in their website about eminent domain, how wonderful it is. Because you wouldn't get that pipe 2 miles without stopping it. But so this group comes up, and it's called the Club for Growth. I never even heard of it. A friend of mine set it up, some friend. And this guy comes up, a character, you know, looking for himself. And he said, Mr. Trump, tells me about it. I say, oh, good, good, good. You know, I'm falling asleep listening to him. I say, was this guy ever going to get... It's true. He's an ex-congressman, so what do you expect? Oh, he's an ex-congressman. So he comes up to my office, and he talks to me, and then he said,
would you make a contribution? I said, how much? I had never even heard of him. And he's asking, $1 million. I said, man, he must think I'm pretty stupid, right? You know, you can have money and you can be rich, but you don't want to have people think you're stupid. So anyway, I said, well, let me think. I want to be nice. So they write me a letter. He puts it in writing. You tell me, how stupid is he? He writes me a letter requesting $1 million. We very nicely, Corey, a New Hampshire man. Where's Corey? My man, Corey. He's become a major star in New Hampshire. My main guy is from New Hampshire. You believe that, huh? He knows every road. They got lost the other day. You know, we were up here a couple of days ago, and we were going to this place, and the driver got lost, and Corey told him exactly how to go. So he's from New Hampshire, very famous. Raise your hand, Corey. But Corey was in my office, right? Corey's sitting there. So he asked for me. Then I get a letter a couple of days later. Mr. Trump would like to request $1 million for the Club for Growth. I said, is this guy crazy? $1 million? So I was just nice. You know, how do you say no nicely? You say, no, I'm sorry, we're not interested. We said it nicely. All of a sudden, news conference. Donald Trump is not a conservative. He's not a real conservative. I didn't give him $1 million. I guarantee you, if I paid $1 million, he would have been saying I'm the greatest guy in the world. These people are the worst. I'll tell you what, you meet some bad people in politics. But the reason is the eminent domain. Because years ago, there was a project that needed a certain house, and eminent domain, it would have, by the way, would have created 2,000 jobs and all. But without eminent domain, and it's interesting because most of the conservative groups, and me, and I'm a conservative person, but most of the conservative groups very much in favor of the Keystone Pipeline, right? Wouldn't you say? Most of them. And there's no downside. It's better environmentally, all the stuff. You don't have the trucks driving all over the place, and it's better. And so many advantages. But in order to do it, you need eminent domain because you have to condemn that little narrow strip going through somebody's farm or wherever it may be going, right? And they have a whole thing about eminent. It's okay. Eminent domain's okay for them. But for me, no good. You know, it's sort of an amazing thing. But I will say this about the Keystone Pipeline. We're taking fuel from Canada. We're sending it through our country. Okay. I've heard of better deals than that, right? But I still like it because it's more stuff coming out. It's good. Keep prices down. It's good. But I want a piece of the profits from the pipeline. See, right now, we're giving them, oh, go ahead through our land. Go ahead. Come on. I want like 25% of the profits. Does that make sense? I could say 50%, but I want to be nice. No, seriously. I want 25% of the profits. And I'm going to approve it fast, but I want 25. I'm going to negotiate a deal. It'll take me about 2 seconds. Those guys have been so beaten up with that stupid pipeline. They have been so beaten up. I'll get them into my office. They'll give me whatever I want in about 2 minutes, right? But let's make a good deal. Why should we have a pipeline that we made possible, right, and not get a piece of it? So I want 25% of the profits, okay? All right. Okay, one more good one. Unless it's a bad one, then we'll do it. So we'll end on a good one.
Sir,
Here's a good-looking guy, wherever the... Oh, there you are. Go ahead.
We have a spelling bee winner here that has a question for you, sir.
Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Adam. I am 10 years old, and I'm from Bedford, New Hampshire.
And are you a spelling maven?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I want to know your opinions on NASA. NASA.
On NASA? Or
NASA. Space.
I think it's great.
The space program.
You know, in the old days, it was great. Right now, we have bigger problems. You understand that. We got to fix our potholes. You know, we don't have exactly a lot of money. I love NASA. I love what it represents. I love what it stands for. And I hope that someday in the not-too-distant future, we can get that going. Space is terrific. Space is terrific. You know, space is actually being taken over privately, which is great. It's being taken over. A lot of private companies going up through space. And I like that maybe even better. But it's very exciting. And if you're looking to do that, I think it's terrific. It's terrific for the future. And you love it, I can see, right? You love it? Whatever it is you love, you do. Okay, one more question.
One more. Where's the mic? Toby and the...
Go ahead.
You want to stand and just yell it out? Time is. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Yell it out.
Yell it out.
Go ahead.
You don't need him.
Good. Say hello to him. Good guy. Right.
You talk about jobs.
Right.
Talk about minimum wage. Talk about that. You talk about bringing all these jobs back from all these countries. How are these people going to make money? Because right now,
did you hear my question last night? My answer on the minimum wage? Because we discussed. Yeah, we discussed minimum wage last night. Here's the problem with minimum wage. Right now, we are losing businesses to everybody in the world. Companies are leaving. They're taking thousands and thousands of jobs. We're losing tremendous amounts of business. And I gave this answer last night, if you start raising it up, we're non-competitive on taxes. I'm cutting taxes big league, more than anybody else, by the way, but under my tax plan. But if you do that with minimum wage, if you raise it, like New York just did, they raised it way up. But if you do that, you're going to become non-competitive even beyond what we are right now. So it's a very, very slippery slope. And what the key is to get the people on minimum wage to work hard and not make minimum wage anymore, to go out and make 5 times, 10 times, 100 times what they're making. Because that's what the American dream is all about. But we have to remain competitive with the rest of the world. And we're not competitive now because our taxes are too high. And if we do that with labor, we're not going to be competitive at all. So we have to be very, very careful, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to thank the whole thing with New Hampshire has been so amazing and it's like a love fest. And it's a movement going on. You know, I went to Dallas, we had 20,000 people. I went to Alabama, Mobile, Alabama, we had 35,000 people. I go to Oklahoma 3 weeks ago, we had 20,000 people, more than that. Anywhere I go in New Hampshire, we have thousands and thousands of people. And I say, it's like a movement. It's not like you like Trump, maybe, I hope. I think I'm a nice person. But the message is what's going. And, you know, they used to have a term, silent majority. It's not silent anymore. It's not really silent anymore. It's not even a good term for us anymore. It's a term that I was using, but the crowd is so wild, the crowds, and they're all this way. They're so enthusiastic. They want to see great things happen for our country. And it really started right here. I mean, the respect and the love in the room. We're going to do something that's going to be great. We're going to turn it around, and we're going to be so proud of it. You saw Saturday Night Live the other night. Did anybody see? Where it was sort of funny. You saw that. I thought the funniest scene was where I was the president. It's 2 years. And I was the president. I'm sitting there, and I'm saying, General, how are we doing with ISIS? Sir, they are defeated, and they are on the run. Then I say to the Secretary of State, how are we doing with this and that? Then I say to the trade, how are we doing on trade? China has succumbed. We are now making money with China, you know, et cetera. And it was fun. And it was a great skit. And then somebody walks in, Mr. Trump, meaning Mr. President, we're so tired. The public can't stand it. We're winning all the time. They can't take it anymore. I thought it was a great skit. I said, well, they're going to have to get used to it. But there's no such thing as winning too much. We don't win at all. We never win. We're going to win all the time. So I want to thank you all. You're special people. I will never forget it. Thank you very much. Thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah.
98 for my wife.
Okay, real fast.
I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
And then I got one baseball.
I got to go.
I know.
Let's do it off.
And then that.
I'll sign this off stage. Thank you.